How's it, punters? Welcome back to Best Sports Betting, and we're continuing with our Euro 2020 previews on the podcast, and we're going to be talking about some of the upcoming matches. We chatted about some of the last results from the past couple of days in the podcast. That'll be up on the Best Sports Betting channel, but we're just going to be talking about some of the upcoming games today. We've got a few that we're going to talk about, and obviously the big one is France versus Germany. I'm joined by Simon. Simon, what are your thoughts? We've got Le Bleu taking on the Mannschaft. What are your thoughts on the game? You did a cracking preview up on Best Sports Betting. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I think most people agree this is probably the most tantalizing encounter that we can look forward to in the Euros so far. It looks like we're having a lot of people backing France here, but I think you'd be crazy, not to think this game could certainly go either way. It's obviously being played in Munich, so Germany will have the home advantage. But these two teams are in quite contrasting form. I mean, France have actually on quite a long unbeaten run, and Germany have just really not been playing well. I mean, they've had some
for the last couple of years, to be honest.
Yes, against some really minnow teams that just haven't been playing well at all. So, looking at the two teams from a sort of analytical perspective, I mean, on the offense, I think they're pretty evenly balanced. I would still give the edge to France, especially with a player like Kylian Mbappe. I mean, he's just really in a league of his own. But France, I think, from a defensive point of view, are definitely more superior. I just think, besides Matt Hummels, I just think the German defense is just really not up to match. A lot of their older players kind of moved out now, so it's a tough one to call. I mean, if I had to pick a win in this one, I think it would be France. But I do think that goals maybe are something which somewhere else we can look at, and I think both teams to score at 8-10 might be a decent shot too. What do you think, Rob?
Yeah, I'm definitely leaning with both teams to score here. I'm leaning with France. The kind of X factor for me in this match is that it's being played in Germany. That's one of the things that I have taken into consideration. Otherwise, I would just at a neutral venue, I'd just be backing France straight up. I do like France draw no bet. I do think this match might end in a draw. I do think it's going to be a score draw. And I'm hoping there's going to be lots of goals in it. I'm hoping it's not going to be a kind of washout where both teams are like, oh crap, we're in the same group. We need to... a draw is actually all right for both of us. That sort of thing. Especially with the new rules where the kind of third place teams can actually qualify. So that's also something to take into consideration.
That's definitely an interesting point. One would hope that they won't play for a draw, but I mean, look, they're the two evenly matched teams in the group of death, so anything's possible. I think, as I said, the one thing I worry about Germany is the defense, and I just think that France really have the ability to kind of really tear them up. And you got to wonder. I mean, obviously, it's obviously not going to be a full stadium. Like, how much is that home advantage worth to Germany? I mean, if you think about it, okay, what would this match be on maybe a neutral field, and then what would this match be in terms of the odds in France? So I think you always got to toss up those things when weighing up and deciding who do you think where the value lies. But I think for if you're looking for a sort of quite a big odds bet, pointing to factors that we've already talked about earlier, I quite like. With sporting bets, you can get team one being France to win an over 2.5 goals. So obviously, if it's a draw or a 1-1 draw, that's obviously not going to come in. But if you do think it's going to be over 2.5, you can bag in France to win there as well and get odds of 4.2. Which I think is quite a decent shot.
That's actually very, very nice odds there. I'm just looking over on Betway, and they've got some decent combos as well. I've got the France and over 2.5, I'm not sure about the goals, man. Like I can see on paper, I'm just worried about the normal permutations, it being the opening game.
Oh look, the early stages of any international competition is always a bit of a danger backing goals. I mean, I read a stat yesterday that 83% of the group stages of Euro 2016 went under 2.5. So look, if you look at the prices, it is priced like that because generally you're only getting about 1.6, so 6 to 10 on an under 2.5. So it's not like the bookmakers haven't taken it into account. But yes, look, basically you're playing against the odds by backing over 2.5 at this point in the tournament.
We have seen goals so far in the tournament. Fortunately, it hasn't been too bad. We've had a kind of good mix of results all across the board. I think, even some surprising ones with both teams to score in some unexpected kind of games. So I think I'm going to go with that both teams to score. I think I might even have a sneaky stab on correct score at 1-1, which I think the bookmakers are just expecting a draw here, to be honest.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think it's the safe play, and I think that the way that they've, the way they've priced these two teams, I think they are probably getting quite even action. So I think, look, it's you're not getting what I think it's just over 3, right? That you're getting on that draw. So maybe not the best.
Yeah, it's not a great price.
No, it's not a great price for a draw. You want to really be backing closer to 3.5 when you're backing a draw. So, I love backing a draw when there's value, but when there's no value in it, I just think it's a very risky proposition. So, yeah, as I said, for me, it's a tough one to call, but I would be leaning towards France here, but I do like both teams to score.
There's France drawn a bet it's hovering around 8 to 10, 1.8, 1.9 around there. It's pretty decent price. I think I might get involved there, but I still think that initial both teams to score is probably going to be the way to go. But yeah, let's move on to Hungary, Portugal. It's taking place a little bit earlier. Portugal are favoured there, pretty heavily favoured, 1.4. I can't really find much in this game. Do Hungary have what it takes to upset Portugal? Are Portugal really that good that they should be 1.4? I'm just not sure that I think they're playing in Baku, but what are your thoughts? Have you had a look at this fixture at all?
Yeah, it's not one that's particularly interested me, but I think that those odds are more reflection of Hungary being relatively poor than Portugal being relatively good, because of course you can see in the outright match odds that Portugal are not a popular side. The bookmakers are not expecting them to make a deep push in this tournament, based on where they've priced them, even though they are the 2016 Euro champions. So I think, look, I'm not getting hugely excited by the odds in that match. I think the more exciting game would be when they play Germany, but that's only on Saturday. But you would obviously want to see how Germany fare against France there. So yeah, it's not necessarily one game that I'm looking at.
I don't think I'll be having a bet on this one either. And I did have a look at it. Portugal will keep a clean sheet. I don't even think you can. That was maybe my lean. I don't even think you're going to be getting two very good odds in that one at all. I'm just having a quick squiz here to see if there is anything on screen now. But here we go. Both teams to score no. So 1.6 you're going to get. I don't think that's going to be good enough for me. Let's move on to the Italy versus Switzerland game. I think that's going to be an interesting one. Switzerland looking for points after drawing with Wales 1-1.
Yes.
That was an interesting game for the neutrals, in the sense of Switzerland's I pegged to win that game actually.
Yeah, well, I mean, Switzerland were just under even money to win that. They were 1.95, and they did actually dominate Wales on the stat sheet. If you look at it, they pretty much had double of everything. Double the passes, the shots on goal, etc. So they did dominate them on the stat sheet. Obviously, they didn't convert that to a win and only got 1 point. But I must say, I actually, as much as I fancy Italy, of course we've talked about that already, and that's our outright pick. I must say, I think Switzerland are being a little bit underestimated here in the odds.
Yeah, 6. It's insane. I'm sorry.
I mean, you can get 14 to 10 on a double chance with Sportingbet, which I think is, as I said, although I fancy Italy to go pretty far overall and hopefully win, I think you've got to have a bet against them. You had 14 to 10 on a double chance. I mean, as I said, Switzerland did actually dominate Wales. In their draw, so I think that price on Italy looks a little bit short to me. So I would certainly be favouring Switzerland in this one with a bit of a handicap.
Yeah, I like a draw here, and even though it's screaming kind of overs. I actually quite like the unders here. I don't think we're going to see too many goals. The Swiss are a solid defensive unit. Italy's solid as well. I don't think it's going to be exactly a case of them cancelling each other out in that sense. But I just fancy unders here. I think a draw as well. Look, Italy are the better side, but it's a key match in the group as well. It's two best teams in the group.
If you think about this, I think it's a case of a bit of recency bias. I mean, let's be honest. If this match had happened, if this was the first match of the tournament, Italy would probably be about 9 to 10, 8 to 10.
Yeah.
They certainly wouldn't be anywhere near as short as they are here. So, I with a bit of recency bias at play here, I think that you're definitely getting a bit of value on Switzerland. You also got to remember the bookmakers know that everyone would have watched the first match of the tournament.
Yes.
Because everyone does. So they would have seen Italy win 3-0. Oh, Italy are so great, which sure, maybe they are. But, they're going to price Italy shorter just on the fact that they know they're going to get love from the public. So I really think that Switzerland is the play here.
Yeah, I think if I was going to be backing a side, I would probably be backing the Swiss on value. I wouldn't be taking them outright. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think they'll beat Italy, but I think they've got enough to kind of hold them to a draw or something like that. I was just having a look at the unders. The unders are very badly priced, 1.64. Not really interested in that price. So I'd rather go with your double chance.
Double chance.
Yeah, I think that's going to provide some value. Maybe even a straight bet on the draw. Half-time, full-time draw could be a bet as well. But I'm not overly convinced that the Italians are going to run away with it. Pretty much based on some of the things that you said earlier as well. So let's jump to maybe not the most exciting match that I would like to talk about, but it's going to be Finland against Russia. And I think you're getting a pretty good price here on Russia at 1.63, to be honest.
Yeah, I suppose. Look, I mean, I was expecting about 1.5. I think. Wow, I mean, we can talk about it when we talk about Denmark versus Belgium in a bit, but look, I mean, obviously unexpected win from Finland. They were absolutely dominated by Denmark until, Christian Eriksen, collapsed on the field.
That game should have been called off.
Absolutely, yeah, we'll talk about that in a bit, but I just think that you're right. I think that Finland are probably getting a little bit of love here because of the fact that they got a victory against Denmark. But I mean, whether that was legitimate or not is obviously up for debate. But so maybe a touch of value on Russia there.
Yeah, look, Russia aren't great. I'm not gonna try and hype them up or so. I just know that they are better than the Finns. And I really think they're going to be picking up a result here. I don't want to say it's one of my kind of best bets, but I do think it's going to be one of those sort of 2-3-0 wins for Russia here. I'm going to watch the game actually. I think it could be quite an interesting one to watch. Hopefully some goals in that one. But let's jump on to England-Scotland. I think that's going to be one a lot of punters are going to be interested in. Scotland getting kind of hammered. I mean, I fancy them to pick up a result in their last match. They lost 2-0. That cracking goal from the halfway line. I don't know if you caught that one, Simon.
Yes, yeah.
Wow, what a shot, yeah?
That was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, talking about England again, I'll just kind of repeat what I said. I mean, I do hope that Southgate tinkers with the side a bit, gives Henderson, Grealish a start, and we might see a better game from them. But yeah, in terms of the odds on England, I mean, there's not a bet I really love here. I don't think, as I said, I don't think we've seen enough from either of the sides yet to make a real call. But yeah, obviously decent results. A bit of a surprising 2-0 loss against the
Czech Republic.
Against the Czech Republic in their first round. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens here.
I fancy England to win this one comfortably and to keep a clean sheet. I think that's where my money is going to be going. England to win and England to keep Scotland out. I don't think Scotland are going to score in this game, just based on what I saw in the game against Croatia. I think they had, the Croatia has a lot stronger side than England. And look, they were playing at home. These two teams are pretty familiar with each other. The players are fairly familiar with each other as well. So I think this is going to be quite an easy win. I don't like the odds on England. That 1.3. I don't want to say it's a banker, but I will throw that into my accumulators. And yeah, that's where my money's going to go on that game. Goal wise, I think maybe even under 2.5 might be a call. Maybe England on the handicap -1. I know that sounds contradictory, but I think England win this one maybe 2-0 if I were to go for a correct score. But I think my main bet's going to be England to win and to keep a clean sheet. Your picks on this game? What do you reckon?
Yeah,
you fancy any of those?
I agree that look, England I think are priced correctly. I don't think their 1.3 is too short. It's just not really a price I want to back. I would perhaps mainly look, I think you're going to struggle to find something over even money, a bet that you're going to really like here. But what you could do is take England on the -1 Asian handicap, which means that you would get your money back. If they didn't win by 2 goals, you wouldn't lose it. So that you're going to get it probably around 1.55 or 1.6 instead of taking them on the straight -1. So that's perhaps an option. Obviously, still not the best odds, but it's maybe a 2-0 correct score bet.
Yeah,
that probably wouldn't be a bad call.
Harry Kane to score. Harry Kane to score and England to win 2-0. There we go. There's your bold prediction for your builder bet.
Yeah. There we go. Unfortunately, the anytime goal scorer on Harry Kane on his own will probably
terrible.
Odds on, yeah. So you may as well boost that with an England to win and get something over even money.
Yeah, right. Spain, Poland. I know it's not maybe one of the most interesting fixtures to talk about, but there are teams that have played, so we have had a look at them. Spain, Sweden rather went bad. In the sense of they aren't a bad side and. Spain struggled against them. Are Spain going to walk over Poland, who I think are maybe even better than Sweden?
Yeah, look, Poland are a decent side. Obviously, they lost their first match 2-0, but look, Spain had plenty opportunities last night. It's not like they didn't. They just were not finishing well. Look, I don't think that they're a massive. I mean, they're just not. They're not. I mean, when we hosted the World Cup, I mean, Spain won that World Cup and they were dominant. I mean, they're just not. They're not the side they used to be. But that said, they still have a lot of attacking prowess, and I do think that draw against Sweden was somewhat of a blip. I do think they'll come away victorious in this one. So yeah, well, I'm not quite sure. I think the odds look about right to me. I'm not quite sure on a bet there, but I think that. I'm certainly not riding off Spain at this point. Okay,
well, some interesting insight there. Not riding off Spain. I'm not entirely convinced, but I'm also not convinced enough to back Poland, who they had that red card against Slovakia, which pretty much cost them the game.
Yeah.
But you're getting huge odds on Poland at 8.21. That's just what I'm looking at. My eyes are just. Like sources looking at that double chance, it's 2.74, which is pretty big. But Spain should win this one, to be honest. And I just see a stat popping up here. The average goals scored in this encounter is 5 goals. So maybe we're going to see a high-scoring one in Spain, making up for.
How many games is that?
I think that's over 3 games. I'm not sure when those games were played, so I'm not reading too much into that. But hey, you never know. I mean, look, it was 2-1 with Spain and Slovakia. You never know. Over 4.5, you're going to get about 5. So that's not a bad price if you're looking for a game that could have some goals in it, and might just be that one. Then there's the match that you wanted to talk about, Simon. Was the Danish-Belgium match.
Yeah, well, of course, as we alluded to earlier, I mean, Denmark will, of course, be without Christian Eriksen after what happened on Sunday against Finland. And, I mean, look, I think the Danish, I mean, obviously have home advantage again playing in Copenhagen, but it's going to be interesting to see what sort of atmosphere there'll be.
Yeah.
Because, I think it'll be quite a lot of mixed emotion there.
I think the Danes are done, to be honest. Well, I think their tournament's done.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to come back from that emotionally, but also when it's your top player, your captain, he's clearly a massive leader in that side. He's not just your average captain too. So, I think, but on the counter argument, you could say, oh well, they're going to be so fired up to make their sort of talisman proud, and get a home win. I'm to be honest, I feel quite the opposite. I think this is the perfect time to get with Belgium,
and it's a cracking price.
I think so. I really do. I think that, you're getting over even money. As I said, you maybe don't agree with me, but I thought Belgium were very slick in their 3-0 win. I just think that I think there might be a lot of people who will actually back Denmark in this spot, but I'm not going to be one of them.
Look, as you said, you can make an argument, but I just think the morale is going to be in the gutter, and I factor that in quite a lot. And yes, you can say that they're going to rally around Eriksen. Yes, they're going to do that, but the fact is he's still out, and the fact is he still had a heart attack, and they saw it or a cardiac arrest, and they saw it happen on the pitch in front of them, and then they had to play the game later on, like on the same day. I mean, that was just ridiculous from UEFA. That really should have been postponed.
I mean, I actually when I saw when the match had stopped, I kind of went to bed and. I just assumed when they said it postponed that was going to be the next day or a few days' time, and then suddenly I saw that on my phone that the match had resumed, and I was like, "What?" I mean, it hadn't even been 2 hours, I don't think, later, and the match had restarted, which I just think again it's a bit insensitive to the whole situation. I mean, shame, and then they miss a penalty. And then obviously end up losing 1-0 to Finland. So I just don't think that the Danish side is probably in the best headspace. Right now.
Even if they are playing Copenhagen, the support's going to be there for them. Everyone's going to be, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Look, I'm not completely sold on Belgium, but they're just head and shoulders above the Danish side.
What they managed in their first game without Kevin De Bruyne was quite impressive. So if he's back, I don't give Denmark a chance, honestly.
Yeah, I think this is going to be probably the best value bet backing Belgium here. I mean, 2 points, you're getting over even money. I think it's crazy. One of the tournament favorites against one of your kind of also rans in the tournament. I think that's got to be a best bet. I'm not sure if there's going to be too many goals in this one, but I think my best bet for the week is probably going to be on Belgium. What do you reckon? What's your out of this sort of match week kind of 2-1-2 sort of vibe?
Yes. I do like Switzerland. As I said, I with that double chance price, that 14 to 10 does look really cracking with sporting bets. But I think, look, I mean, and the odds will tell you this. I think that the Belgian bet is a little bit safer. But I always love backing an underdog when I can get good value, and I do see that in Switzerland. But definitely one of those two would certainly would be my best bet of the week.
All right, so I'm going to go with Belgium as my best bet of the week. I just think that price is just too good to turn down. I think looking at all the other fixtures, I don't think there's anything that really jumps out to me. Maybe the England to win and keep a clean sheet, but I need to find the best price on that one. And I think that's where we're going to wrap it up this week, guys. So is there anything else before we close off, Simon?
No, nothing, but just enjoy the football. It's great to have international games every day, and we'll catch up next week. Yeah,
and hopefully the action continues. Hopefully it keeps the entertainment values, stays as high as it's been so far, because there have been some cracking goals, and it has been a great tournament to watch so far. And it's far exceeded my expectations, to be honest. So let's hope it continues. So guys, thanks for tuning in. You've heard our picks, and we'll catch you in the next episode. Have a good one, guys. Cheers.